For this lesson, go into your exercise folder and open up our old friend, and that's DSC_5292. It's a silverback gorilla who, trust me on this, was not having a good day when I was taking those photos because he was actually throwing things at me. Now let's get into Photoshop, but before we do, let's check by clicking down here. Are we in the right color space, the one that is being used as the working profile for Photoshop? If not, change it. 16-bit, we got the color, we might as well use it. Okay? Open image. Now I've done everything I can. I got my color settings set up, all this stuff. I'm working through it, but there is one more variable that can cause a problem. Not all printers are created equal. Different printers will print things differently. I want to see what this image will look like, not on a generic printer, but on the printer, the exact printer I'm going out to. Go up to the word View on the pull-down menu. Go down to Proof Setup. Now you got a lot of stuff here. Even the ability to view the image if you're colorblind. Let's go to Custom. Now in Custom, incidentally, if you already have a profile, you can load it right here. I don't want working CMYK, but I also don't want Adobe RGB. I've already got that set up. What I want to see is what it will look like on the device I'm printing out to, like say, for example, my HP OfficeJet Pro. Now this computer is not my design studio computer, it's my training computer. So on my other one I have more stuff. But my OfficeJet Pro is kind of like a workhorse. It's a scanner, it's a printer, it slices, it dices, it makes great julienne fries, but it does do some pretty good photos, and I want to use it. So I'm going to choose that. Notice it changes. So I've got that part set up. Preserving RGB numbers will, again, change it. But what does that do? Well, it takes the color numbering system that I'm using in Photoshop and forces the printer to use the same numbers. I usually don't like to use that. I leave that off. Rendering intent, right down here. Think of it this way. We're working on a 16-bit image that has billions and billions of colors, and we're sending it to a printer that probably doesn't have that many colors. So if I send it a color it can't print, what do I want it to do? So if I click here, the two I use most often are perceptual and saturation. Now what does perceptual do? Well, it will move or shift the out-of-gamut colors, the colors the printer can't print, and it will shift them into a range that looks natural to the eye. Saturation just removes saturation to pull them into range. I prefer perceptual, so we're going to use that one. And again, the image did change a bit. Now, black point compensation, if you click it, what does that do? Well, it forces the output device to use the maximum range of colors that it has. If you turn that off on an image that has extreme areas of black and white, you may see some clipping in the colors in the print. So I usually leave that one on. This option is not available with this printer, but this one is. Simulate paper color. If you don't select that option, you're saying to the computer, I am using the whitest, brightest paper on the planet. No paper is brighter than this, like glossies. I'm not a big fan of glossy. I use matte papers and I use canvas papers because they hold the ink better and they give more detail. So I turn that on. Now watch what happens. It will change because that's not a pure white paper. Now we can always save this if we want to use it over and over again. If we click OK, by default, if I come back up to View, you'll see Proof Colors is activated. That's how you turn what we did on or off. So if you want to see it before or after, you can use that option. But I like using Proof Colors with Setup when I'm doing things like curves and levels and adjusting a lot of the colors if I know the device I'm going out to. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Begin with the end in mind.